You're listening to This Week in the World of Football, which is coming to you from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan. The purpose of this podcast is to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. The intent is to educate, inform, and entertain you, the listener, with the glorious buffet that is the world of football, while also keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. You can find this show on a multitude of podcast platforms as well as on YouTube. Timestamps are provided in the show description, so you can jump to the topics you really want to listen to. So without further ado, let's kick off this week's show.
Thank you, announcer lady. This is episode 386 for March 25th, 2025, and I am your host, Randy Snow. On this week's show, the Indoor Football League kicks off their 2025 season. The Netflix docuseries Quarterback is coming back for a second season, and 2 UFL coaches are leaving their teams just before the season begins. But I'm not here all by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son, Adam.
Hi, how's it going? You know, I talked about that football game on my birthday, probably going to be a snoozer, and it was not. We're going to talk about it in a second, but it was not as bad as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's now officially spring here in Michigan.
Yeah.
Last week, before it was officially spring, we had 2 days in the 70s, and you wake up on the morning of the first day of spring, and there's snow on the ground.
It's been
So it's weird.
pretty chilly the last couple of days.
It's getting, the temperature is coming back up again, but slowly but surely we're getting into spring now. So
Yeah.
it's a good time of year.
Yes, it is.
All right, not only do we have this weekly podcast, but we also have a YouTube channel where we
Yeah.
post YouTube videos.
Shocker.
We currently have, 500 videos on our YouTube channel. Some of our recent posts have included our arena football versus indoor football video that we did last week, explaining the difference between the two. We also did an IFL preview with our buddy Trey from Off the Wall. That
Great conversation with him.
yeah, it's always fun talking to him. He knows so much.
He knows so much, and every time I look, his social media game is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like his YouTube channel should be blowing up more than I think it has been.
Mm-hmm.
But if you guys haven't yet, go check out Off the Wall. Like seriously, like he has not paid us that much to do this plug. So,
As in nothing?
yeah, nothing. I mean, I got some. Did you not get anything?
No.
Oh, sorry, Trey. That was not supposed to come out.
Uh-huh.
But no, seriously though, go check Trey's stuff out. He does great stuff over there. I love watching the turf tapes when I get a chance.
Yep.
And his interviews are really great. He's gotten a lot of great players on there, and he kind of let us in on a couple guys that could be coming in soon. So check out Off the Wall wherever you could find good podcasts and his YouTube channel. Seriously, you will not be disappointed if you're a big indoor and arena football fan.
And also last week, we posted our AF1 Week 2 recap.
Yeah.
And, that was just went up
Last night.
Last night. And so for upcoming videos, we've got our Week 3 recap coming.
That's the only thing we got really planned
next
other than this
Yeah.
show. So
Yeah.
trying to take a look. I had such a busy weekend last weekend.
You did. You were all over the place.
All over the place, in life and in football and in podcasting. That I need a little bit of a break. So I think this just doing the Week 3 recap in this show is probably enough.
Good. That means you don't have, hey, how about if we do this video, and you write them, record them, and I'll edit them. So
Yeah, I think I got to slow down a little bit. The new fiance. That's right. Probably
congratulations
would like a
there.
little bit of me not being in front of the computer so much time. Even though the only other thing I'm working on is still World of Football related, and that's some merch stuff we're slowly getting around to letting everybody know about here in the next week or two. Just waiting on some stuff to get in, and then we'll probably be promoting the crap out of it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's begin this week's tour around the world of football. And we're going to start off this week with scores from Arena Football 1. Yes, it was Week 2 in Arena Football 1. They had a game on Friday and a game on Saturday. And let's start with the Friday night game, which was on Vice. It was the Albany Firebirds over the Southwest Kansas Storm, 78-20. Who saw that one coming?
I mean, we kind of figured the Firebirds would be very good.
Yes.
But maybe not so good that they're going to blow out the 2-0 Southwest Kansas Storm the way they did.
Yeah, we knew what Southwest Kansas was about because they were 2-0. We'd seen their games. This was Albany's first game of the season. We didn't know how they were going to be compared to last year.
I was curious how that Southwest Kansas defense was going to play. I mean, I forget how many turnovers they've forced the last 2 weeks, but they have been, really good. And that's right. Even though it's week 2, this is kind of week 3,
Right.
the third weekend to play. 'Cause Southwest Kansas, this is their third game.
Right.
And I didn't know this until I listened to an interview with quarterback Jalen Morton on the AF1 Fancast that they did so much travel, and a lot of the stuff that they've got to go through the travel, like the amount of time they're in the airport, or they got to drive to other cities to get to an airplane. Sounds absolutely crazy. So, I mean, the fact that they had to fly out to Albany after being in Washington.
Yeah, crossing the country.
And then playing on Friday night, because that game was Sunday night, and then they crossed country to play on Friday night, and they didn't get home till like 6 in the evening on Monday afternoon. Like, just the crazy schedule they got. So, I mean, I don't want to use that as an excuse for why they lost this game, because Albany looked so stinking good. But Southwest Kansas, the travel was a factor, I think. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how they'll play, because they got the big game Sunday night, and we'll talk about that later, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Firebirds opened the game with the opening kickoff ending in a deuce, so 2 points right off the bat. Then Southwest Kansas got their first touchdown, so they led 7-2.
So I thought when they scored that first touchdown on the opening drive, I think it was a 22-yard scamper by Jalen Morton. He looked great to start the game.
Right.
We were like, oh, this is going to be a heck of a showdown.
A
and
shootout. Everybody's going to score every time they get the ball.
After that, Albany kind of locked in, and Southwest Kansas couldn't do much, despite Jalen Morton having, at least on the ground, a good game, because he had 88 yards rushing.
Yeah.
We were talking with Tim Capper during the game, texting back and forth, and he was pointing out that the 88 yards was getting close to that record set by Michael Bishop back in 2005, or at least for an arena record, but F1 record. Obviously, this is the new record. 88 yards.
Everything this year is a record.
Right. So, but still, a very impressive performance. I thought he still could use a little work in terms of seeing the field, and I think he's got nowhere to go but up. His ceiling is really high if he sticks with the AF1. So we'll see how he goes forward. But man, just give Albany so much credit for how well they put that team together. Everything they utilized catching the ball over the boards, cut the ball off the net.
Yep.
Albany just looked like a very well-rounded team.
Yeah. Yeah, Albany was up 37-7 at halftime, and they didn't look back from there.
No.
So congratulations, Albany.
And their uniforms. What do you think of their uniforms?
They were nice. I liked them.
I did too.
I like all the new uniforms this year.
Yeah, they've done a real good job when they've rolled them out.
Right.
I think all the new uniforms do look really good. They just got to get them shipped in time.
Yeah.
But the only thing that bugs me with Albany's uniform, and I'll say it again, is the chicken wing helmet. Still not a fan.
Yeah, I don't care for that. They need to go back to the old helmet.
And I'm curious because Tim pointed out also that all these teams sound like they might have like an alternate jersey. So I'm wondering and hoping, do the Firebirds rock an orange jersey? Oh boy, I can't wait.
Maybe.
I'm looking very forward to them pulling that out. I think Southwest Kansas, they'll get their new home uniforms this week. I don't know if they're going to do the black jerseys, if that's their alternate, or if they're going to have a purple jersey for their home.
Green and purple, maybe.
Maybe we'll see. We haven't had any sort of official unveiling, but can't wait to see that on Vice. And the other thing about Vice, real quick, something we didn't really touch on during our weekly recap was Cedric Bonner and Ari Wolf doing the games from a remote location in Houston, apparently. Something I didn't know about until Tim kind of pointed that out to us.
I think they did that last year too. I don't know where they were, but yeah, they weren't not physically at every game they broadcast.
But
you couldn't tell.
I had no idea. I couldn't tell, but the way the screens were kind of set up made me start going, wait a minute, are they in a different location? Because the background was kind of telling. And I do want to point out that I think the way to Cedric Bonner's heart is Red Bull and Sour Patch Kid. Was that? No, Airheads. That's what it was. You could see it on the little desk there during the game. He was snacking on stuff during the broadcast. So just pointing that out if you want to get close to Ced Bonner.
Yeah. Let's see. The second game was on Saturday, and it was the Washington Wolfpack defeating the Oregon Lightning 35-28. Some of the notes that I had from this game is I started watching it, and there were no graphics. There was no score, no time clock on the screen. It was just, the game. And I thought, oh my gosh, they got to get their act together. And about 7 minutes left in the first quarter is when it popped up on the screen, and it was there for the rest of the game. So that concerned me a little bit, but it all kind of worked out. Oregon was up 22-0 at halftime, and I thought, oh my gosh, it's going to be another blowout. Washington can't do anything. And then Washington started to put it all together in the second half. They scored a couple of quick touchdowns. first touchdown was scored, and then Oregon had a bad snap, and that led to a recovery in the end zone. So another quick touchdown, 14 points right there. They scored another touchdown after an interception, I think, and a 2-point conversion. So boom, next thing you know, it's 22-22 in the third quarter, and Washington was able to win the game after that. But yeah, very exciting second half all around. I mean,
maybe not if you're an Oregon Lightning fan.
No, of course not. But as a fan watching the game, I was kind of bored in the first half, but the second half really kept me entertained.
So that's what I heard, because I wasn't able to watch this game. It was my birthday, and I went to a friend's wedding, and I ended up getting engaged that night. So I missed all of this, but I saw the headlines, and I saw all the people tweeting about the comeback, the 35 unanswered points in the second half by Washington, and it sounded like a great game. I'm waiting I got to go back and check out the recap or because I think the AF1 is actually putting out like condensed recaps of the game.
Like a highlight package?
Yeah, well, not even just a highlight package. I think it was actually, I thought I saw, and I'm going to look it up right now as we're talking, but like 12-minute versions of the game, which if that's true, I mean, awesome. And I'm looking forward to checking that out since I missed it. But, I mean, what a comeback for the Wolfpack. I mean, and then you mentioned the score bug at the beginning. So I think they had that issue last year with their broadcasts out of Washington. I don't know what the deal is, if it's that venue or what, but I feel like they had a similar issue last year when doing that. So I'm not sure. But, I mean, excited that they got it figured out, and hopefully going forward. And we've talked about this with all these teams. These first four, like probably once we get past week 3 or 4, hopefully we'll see this league and these teams in stride with everything. Right. And they're trending in the right direction.
Yeah. And that was everything I had from this second game. If you had anything else you wanted to say about that one.
Not really. Like I said, I'm looking up right now on Evergreen now to see if they got like a recap of that game. Yeah, it looks like they have a condensed game of that, 15 minutes and 21 seconds on their Evergreen Now app. So if that's, I mean, I'm going to have to check that out. That's awesome. That's exactly what I've been wanting.
So you got to go to Evergreen to find that.
Yep. But it's weird because like you search AF1 and you only get a few things. Like I did AF1 and they even had like the Firebirds, like not Coach's Show, but they had some Firebirds special on there. But I just looked up Oregon Lightning and these were the options that came up. So just make sure you look team specific, I guess, right now if you're really looking for something, because AF1 didn't do it for me, at least on my phone right now. But yeah, I did Oregon Lightning, and I found the condensed Week 2 game, 15 minutes, 21 seconds. So that's pretty awesome.
All right. Well, looking ahead to this coming weekend, Week 3, you've got a game on Friday, you got a game on Saturday, you got a game on Sunday.
Heck yeah.
You got a whole weekend of arena football coming up.
I'm very excited, and all these games, for different reasons, should be interesting. Friday night, Salina at Corpus Christi, a rematch of a couple weeks ago. We talked about it. Salina looked terrible, and Corpus Christi only got one set of nets up, and they had no sponsors around the boards. Hopefully, Salina shows up to play, and this game is a lot more interesting just in terms of being competitive. I think Corpus Christi is still the better team, and we'll see if just they get their presentation side of things at the venue, put together.
Right. Yeah.
And then Saturday night, Albany going down to Nashville to take on the Cats. There's all the hubbubaloo about the Cats not being able to sell tickets. They're selling tickets, and I think the deal was like you buy a ticket, you get the second for $5 or something like that for their home game. So
yeah, they had some deal going on. I happened to see a post on that, and I don't remember what the deal was.
And with Nashville, now they've had a couple weeks to prepare, and I'm curious to see what kind of team they have now after, because week 0 they were kind of just thrown to the fire. Their head coach kind of saw it as a preseason game essentially, even though it technically counts. So we'll see if they got much better or how they look now after a few weeks of preparation, and we'll see just how good this Albany team can continue being.
Yeah, that's the game I went to last year. Was Albany at Nashville,
and that was a good game. It was very good, very
great time at that game.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe Nashville will surprise us and make it a very interesting game. So we'll have to wait and see. And then Sunday, your Vice game will be the Oregon Lightning taking on the Southwest Kansas Storm. I think this will be interesting. Just for can the Storm bounce back, and can the Lightning overcome their second half issues and make a game with Southwest Kansas? Because I think Southwest Kansas is going to bounce back, and Jalen Morton's going to come playing like his hair's on fire. I'm looking forward. Jalen Morton's going to be a star. I mean, he had a rough game. Yeah, he had the 88 yards. He threw 3 interceptions, I want to say, during the game. But I'm curious to see him improve going forward.
Okay. So now let's move on to some scores in the National Arena League. This was week 3 for them. They had a game on Friday and one on Saturday. In the Friday game, it was the Columbus Lions shutting out the Carolina Cobras 25-0. Columbus is now 2-0 on the season. And in the Saturday game, it was the Shreveport Rougarou over the Wheeling Miners 20-13. That's the first win for Shreveport. I actually watched some of this Wheeling Miners Shreveport
How much
game.
do you watch? Because I've heard there's a lot of weird controversy with this game.
I was going back and forth because I think I had this on my laptop and I was watching the other game. I can't remember exactly. I watched so many games over the weekend.
Right.
But, so I think I was watching one here, one there. So I was back and forth. So I didn't see everything, play by play, but I did watch it enough to see, what happened there at the end. They just an incomplete pass, was the difference in the game on the last play of the game. So it came down to the last play.
Okay.
But yeah, the broadcast was just so. I can't remember if they had graphics on the screen or not for Shreveport, but yeah, I did at least try and watch some of that game. So yeah, in week 4 coming up, you've got a game on this coming Friday and 2 on Saturday in the NAL. Columbus Lions at Carolina Cobras this week.
Again, okay.
And Idaho Horsemen at the Omaha Beef, and that's on Saturday. And also on Saturday is the Columbus Spartans at the Sioux City Bandits.
Colorado Spartans.
What did I say?
You said Columbus.
Oh, all right, Colorado Spartans at Sioux City Bandits. Okay. So now let's move on to a league that was in their very first week this week, and that would be the Indoor Football League. They kicked off their season with 2 games on Friday night and 1 on Saturday. In Friday night action, it was the Jacksonville Sharks over the Massachusetts Pirates, 46-25. On Friday, also Friday, it was the Quad City Steamwheelers over the Green Bay Blizzard, 39-37, in a pretty close game.
So I tried watching this game. I downloaded and got the subscription to the IFL Network.
You're on your 30-day free trial.
I'm on my 30-day free trial. And already off the bat, I don't know what issues, if anybody else had it, or if it was just my own internet / just trying to cast it to my own TV. The fact that you can't find a way naturally to just have this on your TV without plugging in like a computer bugged me a little bit. I don't know if I have to log into the internet on my TV and do it that way, which I feel like I shouldn't have to. But I tried casting it. And every time I tried to cast it, it started over the broadcast from the beginning. So I had to scrub all the way to the live TV every time, and it kept glitching out. So this great ending to this Quad City game that I was trying to get invested in, I just couldn't. So I'm really disappointed in that. The fact that I couldn't easily cast this to my TV was a pain in the butt. I was very unhappy with that. And then to find out that how this game ended and how, because I was there when they were about to do the 2-point conversion to try to get within another score, because then they needed another, I think it was an onside kick or something to make it close. I missed all of it. Any ounce of drama, I missed it because of these issues, and it really was frustrating trying to do that, especially after the ease I had Friday night watching the Firebirds game in the AF1, because that I had to download a separate app which streamed that game on Vice perfectly fine. So it was just frustrating that this IFL network, for me at least, has left a bad taste in my mouth to start.
And the last game was on Saturday, and it was the Tulsa Oilers over the San Antonio Gunslingers, 28-20. Now, I went to Facebook. I went to the IFL Facebook page and tried to see if I could see some, maybe not game replays, but just replays of certain plays, like scoring plays or whatever.
Right.
And I could not find anything on their Facebook page. It was just all pictures from the game. They had the scores with a nice graphic of the final score and all that, but no actual highlights of any plays. But then I went to X. And on X, on their Indoor Football League page, yes, you could see replays of many scoring plays from at least the last game. I think it was the Tulsa game, but I'm not sure. So they did at least have some plays that you could see if you're too cheap like me to pay for their service.
And I'm on the IFL's YouTube page right now, and they got. Looks like they have live look-ins from both the games from Friday night, at least. Both like 2.5-hour broadcasts. I'm just going to scrub through here. But, okay, so here's what it did. So it's a 2.5-hour broadcast, but the first, 8 minutes and 30-something seconds, you can watch the game live. and then it just tells you continue watching at the IFL network. So they put it up for people on YouTube, and then you only get to watch 8 minutes. And oh, hey, by the way, we're gonna stop you right there. Go check it out and pay for our streaming service.
Interesting.
So that's kind of lame. I mean, I get given the whole taste and sending them over there, but only 8 minutes, especially after people. That's how they found your stuff was on YouTube. So I'm
surprised they even put it up on YouTube.
Those are the only two, and I think they did that Friday night. They didn't. Doesn't look like they did that for their third game of the weekend. I don't see that on there, but yeah, their YouTube presence, which I don't blame them. We talked about it with Trey. The ad revenue isn't going to help them out. And the fact that they kept dealing with copyright stuff because of music playing at live events. I mean, I get it. I get why they moved off of YouTube. We don't want to go back into all that from last week or what we talked with Trey, but what I experienced with this app was I could see its potential. It's still got a lot of work to get done.
Okay. All right. So looking ahead to next week in the Indoor Football League, week 2, 2 games on Friday night. That's going to be Quad City Steamwheelers at the Massachusetts Pirates, and also the Iowa Barnstormers at the Green Bay Blizzard. Isn't that the same matchups? Yeah. Or no?
No, they're not, because Quad City played Green Bay.
Okay. And then on Saturday, the Fishers Freight at Northern Arizona Wranglers. 2 games on Sunday, the Tucson Sugar Skulls at the Arizona Rattlers, and the San Antonio Gunslingers. Is it Gunslingers?
Yep.
Gunslingers at Bay Area
Panthers.
See, I didn't even write that down. I just wrote San Antonio at Bay Area. And then finally on Monday night, it's the Vegas Nighthawks at the San Diego Strike Force. So the big schedule for the IFL in their second week.
Yeah.
6 games.
Curious to see some of these teams. Arizona, obviously. Yeah. Very curious. Fishers, that might be our team in the IFL this year. So curious to see what they look like. I'm going to have to try to watch that game Saturday night.
Okay. All right, let's move on to that's it for the scores this week. Let's move on to some other happenings in the world of football. Moving on to some news items from the NFL. Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, and Kirk Cousins are going to be featured on Season 2 of the Netflix docuseries Quarterback. Kirk Cousins was in that last year.
No, he was in it the first season. Last year was Receivers.
Well, but when they did Quarterback.
Yep, he was in that first season of Quarterback,
yes. So he's coming back to the Quarterback show. The show comes out sometime in July, I guess.
Yep.
But I'm assuming they filmed it all during last season.
Yeah.
If so, man, they kept that pretty quiet because I had no idea
yep.
that this was coming out again.
What's crazy to me is that now it'll be the second season of Quarterback where an Atlanta Falcons quarterback was featured and they lose their job in the middle of the season. Like, that's crazy that's happened twice. Yeah, and it's Kirk Cousins again. Very surprised that it was Jared Goff that got picked to do this upcoming season.
We heard rumors that he was going to be in something, that they were following him around for possibly some show. I don't know if it was going to be Quarterback or what, but I did hear last year that there was rumors that he was going to be featured on some show.
They do a good job of keeping this quiet because I had never seen any of these rumors. Joe Burrow makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, he does.
Jared Goff was a bit of a surprise, but I think that's still pretty cool. Kirk Cousins getting a second shot was weird.
I don't get that.
I don't either. What new can we touch on with Kirk Cousins other than he's just in a new city? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I think it'll still be good. I enjoyed the first round of Quarterback. I'm just going to be bummed when they get to the end of the season because Jared Goff made it the furthest, and we all know how that went down, and we already know how we feel about that game. So not looking forward to that again.
Yeah. Okay, the Seattle Seahawks just a little while ago unveiled their 50th anniversary logo. They had their first season in '76, and I
can't believe it's 50 years.
I know it, and I remember that very first season. It was Seattle and Tampa Bay, and at the time, Tampa Bay was in the AFC.
Nope, Seattle started in the AFC.
Okay. But yeah, those two teams came together, and so I'm assuming that Tampa Bay is going to be coming out with a 50th anniversary logo here pretty soon.
Going to be a very logo-heavy show today, apparently.
Yeah.
But look, I saw a little breakdown of the Seahawks logo. Like, you look at it at first glance, and it's just like, okay, whoop-de-doo. It's just a.
Yeah, I looked at it. I didn't see any,
any of the meaning behind it. You really had to read up on it. Like, they have the weird little winged things, that are part of their uniform. Those weird little like arrow-looking things that you can see on their helmet.
Oh, okay.
If you know what I'm talking about. They got it on their stripes or whatever.
Stripe,
Yeah. That they have 12 of those under the 50 to represent the 12th man. You know, they're known for their 12th man. Yeah. It's one of those things where they put a logo together and they come up with a bunch of BS like, this represents this. Like, they had the two colors of their two blues, like when they were first the Seahawks, you know, that brighter blue.
Right.
And the darker blue now. So they had those two colors in the 50. And all this other, you know, they add meaning to everything kind of nonsense. So
sure.
It is what it is. It's just a 50th anniversary logo. I'm sure there's a lot of Seahawks fans who will happily buy that and put it all over their merch and their body.
Well, I hope when Tampa Bay comes out with theirs, it's in a creamsicle color
Ooh,
design.
I'm curious to see what they'll do.
That'll look good on their red and pewter uniforms now.
I mean, we'll see what they do. They could, man, it'd be cool if they did like a mashup, like I said, of their current logo with that color scheme. Would be pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see what they do. That'll probably be coming out in the next week or so. Let's see. Some CFL news.
Nope, you got one last story.
I'm sorry, I missed this one. Yeah, Under Armour has become the official footwear and glove partner of the NFL.
Yeah, that came out today. I don't know what else this will mean other than they just have new footwear and gloves.
Yeah, and gloves it shouldn't matter, but I think a lot of these players, they are, I don't know if they actually have shoe deals with other companies, or maybe they just prefer certain shoes and cleats, and they've always worn those, and now are they going to be forced to wear the Under Armour supplied shoes?
I don't know.
That's kind of a big deal. I mean, your shoes are everything in football.
Right? What does this mean for my cause, my cleats? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought about that. But, you know, they've got so many different helmets now, you know, different brands that are all approved by the NFL that, you know, the guy can say, well, I want this one over that one. I like this one. I prefer this one. This is what I'm comfortable with. I feel safer in this one. And now all of a sudden they've got, well, here's your shoes. And
yeah, who knows? This will be interesting to see if players have a gripe with it. Who knows? And we were kind of reading the article, and they have like a list of bullet points of some of the things that Under Armour is getting out of this deal, some of the access to some NFL stuff. If you want to learn all that, go to the article.
You were reading it to me, and I was bored out of my skull.
Yeah, usually happens when I talk to Randy off mic and on mic sometimes.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's move on to some. Okay. Now it's the CFL item.
Yep.
The 112th Grey Cup logo was unveiled. Nice mountain scene for the game being played in Winnipeg this year.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing the NFL's been doing. Where it's the generic, it's the same logo. You just slap on a few different colors and swap out the city background.
Right.
But I like, there was a couple little details in that logo I did actually kind of like for Winnipeg. I mean, the color scheme, now it's a blue and yellow, which is cool. And like I said, there's tiny little details here and there. I was like, okay, that's pretty neat. But otherwise, it's just your standard Grey Cup logo, and we'll see if we go.
I would like to. I don't cherish being out in the cold in November in Winnipeg, but maybe the weather will work out. I don't know.
You never know.
But yeah, I'm still on the fence. I would like to, and we'll just see if it works out that I can.
Or if the CFL wants to fly us up there. I mean, guys, just get a hold of us.
Hey, I'd settle for a train ride. You get a train from Kalamazoo to Winnipeg, I'm there.
Can you do that?
Probably. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, some UFL news. DC Defenders head coach Reggie Barlow has informed the team that he is leaving. Well, he informed them the other day. He's already got a new job. Leaving the UFL team just a week before the season begins. Barlow took the job as the Tennessee State head coach. That's the one that was...
Is that the one that was rumored for Jeff Fisher?
No, well, yes,
okay.
Because their last head coach is now at Bowling Green, Eddie George. So that was the vacancy that he's filling in behind. And then quarterbacks coach Shannon Harris for the Defenders was named the interim head coach probably for the whole season. I guess. And then, and I thought that was my one UFL story for this week. No, just a little while ago, head coach Ken Wisenhunt is also stepping away from the Memphis Showboats just days before the season begins this Friday. Offensive line coach Jim Turner will take over as their interim head coach.
Curious to see what Royce thinks about this. You know, our buddy Royce from
Yeah.
Viking Wax Press, who's covering the Showboats this season.
Yeah.
over at the Alternative Football Network.
Mm-hmm.
So I already saw him post about this. I'm curious to see further details on this. But just weird, 2 coaches a week prior to the season.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You get an opportunity. This is the whole point of this UFL, right? Coaches and players to get opportunities to, move up or find better jobs, different jobs.
Right.
So happy for him. But man, a week before the season,
Really?
it's a bit of a bummer. But
And I saw some rumor somewhere, I don't know where, but saying that there might be more head coaches in the UFL that might go other places before the season starts on Friday.
Curious.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Could have been somebody just BSing out there.
Right. Well, there's a lot of that on the internet nowadays.
Yeah. So if it happens, we'll report on it. If not, don't worry about it. Okay, moving on to some college news. Former Carolina Panthers and Washington Commanders head coach Ron Rivera has taken a job as the new general manager at the University of California for their football team. Rivera played linebacker at the school from 1980 to 1983. I'm still having a hard time wrapping my mind around all these college teams getting general managers now.
Right, and they said the funding for his job is by...
It's all like private funding. The school's not paying them, but
weird. This trend of general managers in college football is just very odd. It started with the Andrew Luck to Stanford, and we've heard of a couple other big openings like that where this title. It's hard to tell if it's just a PR thing or what involvement this version of a general manager actually is.
Yeah, they talked about Rivera's duties, including ticket sales and a couple other things. I don't remember everything.
Sounds like a marketer.
Well, but see, that's what college football is going to now. They're trying to run them like NFL teams. That's why you've got Belichick turning North Carolina into the 33rd NFL team. I guess is what they're saying. But yeah, he wants to run it like an NFL franchise. So you've got a general manager that's going to handle this, and the kids will benefit from NFL coaches coming down there and talking to them. So that hopefully the transition from college to the NFL will be a little bit easier for those that do make it to the NFL. We'll see. But yeah, it's still weird when I hear so somebody's going to be the GM of Notre Dame or University of Michigan. It's just weird.
So when Western Michigan comes to you and asks you to be their general manager,
I'm there. How much you paying?
Probably just free hot dogs at the game.
Ooh, I'm in. All right, let's see. Another college story. Players who appear in the 2026 version of the EA Sports college football video game are going to get a pay increase this year. They're going to be paid $1,500 and receive a deluxe edition of the game. Last year, the players only received $600 and a copy of the game, which I thought that was awfully low.
Right.
And I think a lot of them put up a stink about it, but then they eventually said, okay, because I know Arch Manning at first turned it down.
Yeah.
Maybe he thought it wasn't enough money or whatever, but he eventually did sign on.
And I think because that game was huge. I don't remember the numbers, but it was a big seller, hot seller. It makes sense that revenue just went up and that this season's game, which I'm sure will be the exact same game, just update the player roster and just resell the game at a
they should just take a new spreadsheet with all the names and numbers and just put that in. Boom, done.
Well, that's what the problem with Madden 26 too has been. It's the same game every year. You get an update with new uniform, new players and all that. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll shell out the money for this year's game or not. As much as I had fun playing that college game, because I didn't buy Madden last year, I bought the college game instead. And I barely even played it then, other than taking Western to the national championship. Then I kind of stopped playing.
All right. And that game's going to be released sometime in July.
Yep.
Don't have an exact date yet. All right. And finally, in college football news, Azusa Pacific, a small California university in eastern Los Angeles County, is bringing back its football team in 2026 after the school shut it down in 2020. The school's athletic program had been competing at the NCAA Division II level, but now, when they bring it back, it's going to be competing at the Division III level. The most famous player to come out of that school was NFL running back Christian Okoye, played for the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe. And also, another school, Whittier College, is also going to be bringing back their football program in 2026 after dropping the sport in 2022. Probably the most famous person to play on their football team was former President Richard Nixon. I've got a nice picture on our website of Nixon and his college. Doesn't really look like a uniform because that was so long ago. It was like might have been the leather helmet days. I'm not sure, but he's just standing there. But yeah, do you know the nickname for or the mascot name for Whittier College? They are the Poets.
Oh.
Okay. Great radio there.
Yep, great. I'm just floored.
Okay, today's birthdays for March 26th.
25th.
25th. Yes, you're right. Coach Frank Howard, born on this date in 1909, and he passed away in 1996 at the age of 86. He was an assistant coach at Clemson from 1931 to 39, and then he became the head coach at Clemson from 1940 to 1969. He was also the athletic director at the school from 1940 to 1971. His record as head coach at the school was 161 wins, 118 losses, and 12 ties. The playing field at Clemson is named after him, and he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1989. To tell you the truth, I had never heard of Coach Frank Howard until
today.
Until I found, I had it in my spreadsheet that was one of the birthdays, but I didn't have any notes on who he was. I assumed he was a player at first, and then I find out, he's a former coach. He was there for over 40 years as an assistant and a coach and a athletic director, and the field's named after him, and I just wasn't aware of that. Now you know. All right, obituaries for this week. This is where we take a moment to honor those who made the world of football a better place. Our first obituary is that of Derek Gaffney, a wide receiver in the NFL for 8 seasons, has passed away at the age of 69. Gaffney played college football at Florida and was selected in the 8th round of the 1978 NFL Draft by the New York Jets. He played for the Jets from 1978 to 1984. He came out of retirement to re-sign with the Jets in 1987 and played during a player's strike and played in 2 replacement player games that year.
All right, and our final obituary is that of...
Just a second. There's 4.
Second. Oh, I got to scroll down a little bit.
Yeah, you got to scroll down to see
Never mind. Our second obituary today is that of Kenneth Sims, a defensive end in the NFL for 8 seasons, has passed away at the age of 65. Sims played college football at Texas and was the first overall pick in the 1982 NFL Draft by the New England Patriots. He played his entire career with the Patriots from 1982 to 1989. Sims was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2021.
Our next obituary is that of Bill Mercer, a journalist and sports broadcaster in Dallas, Texas, has died at the age of 99. Mercer graduated from North Texas and called games for the Dallas Cowboys, the Cotton Bowl game, and the Major League Baseball Texas Rangers. He covered the assassination of John F. Kennedy in 1963 and was the first person to inform Lee Harvey Oswald that he was being charged with the assassination of the president. Mercer authored several books, including When the News Went Live, Dallas 1963, recounting his experience covering the Kennedy assassination, and another book, Play by Play, Tales from the Sportscasting Insider, a memoir of his illustrious sports broadcasting career. Mercer is a member of the University of North Texas Athletic Department Hall of Fame, as well as the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, the Texas Radio Hall of Fame, and the Texas Intercollegiate Press Association Hall of Fame.
All right, and now our final obituary of the week is that of Bob Long, a wide receiver in the NFL for 7 seasons, has passed away at the age of 83. Long played college football at Wichita State and was selected in the 4th round of the 1964 NFL Draft by the Green Bay Packers. He was also selected in the 10th round of the 1964 American Football League Draft by the San Diego Chargers. He signed with the Packers and played for the team from 1964 to 1967, winning 3 straight NFL titles, including the first 2 Super Bowls. He also played for the Atlanta Falcons in 1968, the Washington Redskins in 1969, under head coach Vince Lombardi, and the Los Angeles Rams in 1970.
All right, our upcoming events calendar. This Friday, March 28th, the UFL season kicks off. On Friday, April 4th, the IFL game, Tulsa Oilers at Fisher's Freight in Indianapolis, where we will be in attendance.
Yes, already had somebody, one of our comments, say that they will be their season ticket holders of Fisher's Freight. And they said, hey, I would like to meet you guys. And I said, as the World of Football, well, if you see us, say hi.
Yeah.
So if you see us at the game, if you're at the game, come up and say hi. Unless Randy's got a hot dog in his mouth, because you're going to want to stay clear of that blast radius, because mustard will be everywhere, I am sure.
More ketchup than mustard, but yeah, maybe a little relish on that too. Let's see, Thursday, April 24th through the 26th, it's the NFL Draft in Green Bay. Saturday, the 26th of April, the Women's Football Alliance season begins. And on Tuesday, April 29th, it's the CFL Draft as well as their Global Draft, where they draft players from other countries like Mexico and Europe and, well, all over the place, wherever they can find them. Right. And that is everything for this week. Anything pop up on your phone that we need to talk about before we end the show?
Nothing big, nothing really coming through. It's been a slow couple of news weeks. I mean, obviously we got the indoor leagues that have been starting up. With UFL kicking off this weekend, so we'll have more scores next weekend.
Yeah, we'll have four leagues to have scores from next week.
So I think, we're sitting pretty right now. And with the draft right around the corner, I'm sure we'll start hearing about. So, I mean, I really haven't listened to a whole lot of the draft crap, like the projections and who's even. I don't even know who's going to go number one, to be honest with you.
The quarterback from Miami.
Cam Ward.
Yeah, that's who everybody says is going to the Titans.
Oh, okay. See, like I said, I really haven't even listened to any of that.
Yeah,
I've been in such indoor
right.
football mode that I just have not listened to any of that crap. Even the Lions, I haven't even looked at that.
Yeah,
because at this point, I'm like, I trust Brad Holmes. It's not like in years past where this is our Super Bowl. The draft was the Lions Super Bowl. Now it's just, all right, just give me some good players.
Yeah, and we were into it last year because Detroit was hosting the draft, so we were all about, here's scenes of, setting up the stage in downtown Detroit.
Yeah,
and knowing that we were going to go on the last day, so that was exciting. So now it's just another draft in a city that we're not going to go to. So.
Yep. But it should be cool. I'm curious to see what they do with Green Bay. I think I did see some mock-ups of how they're going to – because I think they're doing it inside Lambeau Field, I think. So it'll be curious to see how they do it.
Huge parking lot there, too. Yeah. So that, they got a big area for all kinds of outdoor activities and whatever.
It should be interesting to see. We'll be in Buffalo during all that. So we'll be going the opposite direction of Green Bay that weekend.
Yep. All right. Well, that's all we've got for this week. Join us again next week. And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than the two of us.
That's correct. Is there something else I'm supposed to? We're still workshopping this ending.
Yeah. I had a little thing for you to say. Let's try this again.
Okay.
Nobody loves more football than we do.
You got that right. Was that not enough pep? You got that right, Pops.
It was a great line. You just blew it.
You just can't see the finger guns on audio.
We'll try and do better next week.
Good luck with that.
Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed this installment of This Week in the World of Football. New episodes of the podcast are posted every Tuesday and can be found wherever good podcasts are found. You can find the World of Football on Facebook, Instagram, and X by searching for TWOF Kalamazoo or using the links down in the episode description. Head on over to YouTube and subscribe to the World of Football for more fun football-related content. Just search for the World of Football Kalamazoo or use the handle @the World of Football. Thanks for listening and hope to see you again next time.